I don't know. Wait. Alright, now people can hear everything I can hear. And y'all can hear my voice. Thanks for the sub pics, by the way. You'll get your haiku later. It's a cheese sandwich. I only do open faced sandwiches. That's the only way I can do a sandwich is open faced. Oh wait, alright. I'm gonna try a thing. Sorry, what's happening? Whoa! What? We can't hear the collabs? The debt must be paid. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I re-enabled it. It's about damn time. Oh wait, what the fuck is happening here? There we go. Let me just... I need to find the right place for the fucking camera. Alright. We good now? The what? What's the Dio but? One, two, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 push-ups.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? Jesus in heaven. Why are you creeping on me, wife?
I want to look at your butt.
I want to look at my butt. It hurts. My toe hurts. So many tattoos. Want more? I got scammed. I'm trying. I mean, Nobles and Lealvi should be able to invite you as well. I'll send a new invite. Action has already taken. Alright. I've had a haircut a while ago. Wait. Can I turn on camera? Camera news elsewhere. Gotcha. But that's fucking weird, because like now I have y'all in my Twitch as well, so people can see which one of us is speaking, or should be. Or it's not. No, it's not working. They can just see your things. So you need virtual cam. Oh my gosh. Yeah, why am I not? Ah. I gotta go into Lealvi's stream as well. There we go. There we go. Just gonna mute the site real quick. No, we can't mute the site. Ah, fuck's sake. Oh my gosh! Now I can see you, bestie. Jesus fucking Christ. So much happening here. Oh, of course, and Noble's got us all up on his stream. Faces and all. Of course! Of course, my horse. And, enemy, you're showing your mod view. DrVem's mod view you were showing? You were showing my mod view for a while there. Yes! You were checking out Nobles? Well. Well. What you gonna do in my mod view, huh? Huh? Aha! Oh wait, no, we could turn that off, the gold widgets. Bloop. Let's remove that for now. Oh my gosh. I wanna bite them. Oh. The bakery biscuits. I love that that's your channel points, is the bakery biscuits. It's so fucking amazing. I want some fucking biscuits now. Right now. Gotta get them biscuits. It is awesome. Yeah, of course, my horse. I need that first one. Oh, whoops! What happened? I slipped somewhere. Wait, so it says that... Wait, my fucking channel said there's a hype train now. Because it's a shared hype train. What the fuck? Fucking dope. Y'all welcome for the subs. Dope. Oh my god. 8 out of 10 subs on Bestie. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. This is how we started. Yeah, now you know how it feels. Now you know how it feels. Hey, what about me? Oh my gosh, wait. Man, it's a... Ah. Yay. Alright, I'm gifting Ducky as well. I feel bad she didn't get one. Yeah. So is this what it's gonna be from now on? Just us gifting subs and biddies across streams? Just no one actually making money. It's just all going to Twitch. Bezos is getting richer. Of course, Ducky. Shit. Oh my god, Bestie's in my stream? Whoa. Oh my god. It was a good start though. Level 4 hype train, 92% towards a level 5 one. He gives me one before I could sub and I couldn't figure out why it said continue sub. What did you know? What, no. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, 19 out of 10 subs. Hype! Oh, just you wait until you make affiliate Mr. Inimai. Jesus. Biddies, biddies, biddies. Oh, wait. Pixie cheers in both chats? What the fuck is this? Pixie cheered in all chats. Jesus Christ. I'm feeling like a stripper here, the way she's just, like, showering us with cash. Yeah. Good thing it's a terms of service stream and not a how to keep things proper stream. Oh my gosh. It just won't happen, I tell you. The fuck? Wow. Alright, wait. And since you pulled up Nobles on your screen, and he has you on his screen, there's this, like... Yeah. There's a lot of me. I appreciate that, though. That's dancing. That's dancing. Yeah, right. And there's some delay here as well. Bird. Birdie. Birdie. What'd you find? How do we pay to keep it on? Keep what on? This looks like the digital version of a paranoid conspiracy theorist apartment. It's that's what it is. That's what it is. This is not a terms of service. This is an intervention because the lizard people are finally getting to us. We gotta collaborate here. You said you feel like a stripper. Oh yeah. How do we pitch? Oh come on, Artie. All right, I won't undress on stream, I guess. Male stripper voice. Show us, Nobles. What's the male stripper voice? Oh my fucking god, my guy. Literally whenever I can, I'm in your stream. Oh my gosh. Jesus. Yeah, 19. Percentage-wise, I think you have the most subscribers. Percentage-wise, I think you have the most subscribers. I shouldn't have entered mod view. Yeah. Yeah, first affiliate. Jesus, we're at level 7 with the hype. No, level 6 with the hype train. Level 6. Oh my gosh. Yo! Fair going in with our alt account there. The community comes through, for sure. Oh my gosh. That's so nice. The people are just gifting subs left and right in bits. It's insane. Thank you so much, everyone. Y'all are such pretty people. But yeah, Enemy, did you have a plan for how to do this stream? Because y'all have just been bothering me about doing a terms of service stream, and... Oh, come on, Nobles. Come on, don't be such a bitch. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come on, bestie. Come on, bestie. Come on, bestie. How dare you? Peer pressure. Don't get peer pressured. Jesus. Oh, fuck. It's amazing! I keep forgetting that I get more push-ups the more people gift subs and shit as well, so... The push-up debt is... If you can do push-ups in your stream? Oh, come fuck off! Get on the fucking floor, bitch. Oh my gosh. Kiss that shit. Ten. I did 10 push-ups just now. 10 push-ups. You'll need to put some respect on that name. Just to have an ego. I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, okay, so every terms of service thing I've broken is added push-ups. Balls. Balls. Okay, yeah, fine, but we'll do that as we go along. What happens if y'all have broken any rules? What kind of... What do you mean nothing? Holy shit, we're at level 8. On our way to level 9. Jesus fucking Christ. You don't have a cam, dude. Of course you're happy to do push-ups. You can just... fucking... Thanks, Miss Artie. Jesus Christ. Stuff is happening. Wait... Not yet. Oh my gosh. Alright, to help you understand the subject matters covered by our terms of service, we have provided short overviews of key takeaways highlighted in purple below. We hope these overviews serve as useful guide, blah blah blah, whatever. We describe services called Twitch services. Yeah, cool. When you use Twitch, you agree to all terms in this contract. I know. Your use of Twitch is also subject to our community guidelines, whoops, which detail what content is and is not allowed. Any other guidelines? We post and terms of sale, which cover paid products and services. Gotcha. Alright, I'm just gonna... What? Oh yeah, the Slay K is raiding nobles. Welcome! Welcome the Slay Gang! This is a stream, man. Apparently the terms of service is a binding contract. Networks of web software applications and the browser services, blah. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it just says, like, we will be subject to the community guidelines. It's just repeating, like, hey, follow the terms of service. Apply whether you are a user or not. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. See, this is why I didn't want to do a ToS stream, because this is just fucking legalese all over the place. Oh my gosh, I'm so sweaty already. I'm sweating through my shirt. Jesus. Too many awesome collabs. Oh my gosh. This is amazing! Hello, wife. Oh, you're so cute. Hello.
Sorry.
I'm
Good
so
morning.
sweaty already. Did
Yes,
you know?
I like it.
You promised us that you are at least 13 years or older. Oh my gosh. Enemy, you're not allowed to use this anymore. Get your prepubescent ass back home. You're not legally prohibited from using Twitch. The fuck? If you're between 13 and the age to legally become an adult where you live, you can only use Twitch if your parent or guardian is supervising you. Wait, so like a parent or guardian gotta sit with you in the room? I don't know. I don't know if I would want that though, like if you're 15. I don't need to have a legal guardian yet. I'm still considered like an adult. Kinda. Switch services are not available to persons under age of under 13. Blah blah blah. Terms of service also not available to any users previously removed from the Twitch services by Twitch. Blah 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 blah. By downloading, installing, or otherwise using Twitch services, you represent that you are at least 13 years of age. I'm 34, so I think that's fine. Yeah, yeah. Enemy, you're 18, right? I'm pretty sure, at least. Good, good, good. You're really lowering the general age here. Oh my gosh, we got the hype train chest. Oh my god, what a cute little panda or little bear I got. Pack it up. You get a Phasmo emote? It does. Yeah. It's beautiful, man. Ducky looks older than she acts. Man, same here. Account and password. You should provide us with accurate information about yourself. Doy. Keep all of it secure. Well, I've shared it all with enemy, so it's not secure anymore. Oh, she was. For sure. What was it? She had like 99 or 98% of everything last time I checked. 51. Bro. And then was Nobles, right? Because Pixie already just bankrolling that sexy man. So understandable. Yeah. You know what you gotta do to earn that money, Nobles. You know what you gotta do. No, wait. Does that breach the terms of service that I'm just hinting at prostitution? Is that it? Wait, let's keep reading. Let's see what happens. No. Look, anyone wants a piece of single dad, just text me. Text me and I'll make sure you get a little piece of his bum. You know what I mean? You promise not to sell, rent, or transfer your account to anyone else. I don't think anyone would want this account after I'm done. You're his pimp! Oh my gosh. I want that It's DrVem's Fault redeem on Noble Stream to feature me, but with like a purple pimp hat, you know, with a wide brim and everything. I want that added to that. Oh, come on. Did I ask Reggie to bend over, or did he... Oh my gosh. Fine. Yeah. So just provide account info. This is so boring, enemy. Why does anyone ever need to read through this? Unless expressly permitted in writing by Twitch, you may not sell, rent, lease, transfer, share, or provide access to account anyone. Yeah, I'm not allowed to make money off of sharing my account, and I don't. Unauthorized you... No, because I'm not paying you for it. You're not paying me for it. Sell, rent, lease, transfer, share, or provide access to your account. Yeah. Yeah. Basically. So, like, if I'm gonna stream, it's me that's streaming. Twitch may permit you to register for and log on to Twitch service via third-party services. I've done that so much. Good that they allow it, because it's built into their website and shit. Alright, further information about Twitch collects, uses, and discloses your personal information, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just assume, since this is owned by Amazon, that they just use they collect everything, all of my information. I'm just gonna feel... Yeah, but I mean, we've been on the internet since we were, what, like 10? They have our information by now. They know what kind of porn I looked at 13. They know. Oh, for sure. For sure. Good morning, Jesse. Good morning. Yeah. Say good morning, enemy. Yes, bitch. I'm so tired as well. It's so warm. I don't know. First thing I hear, they know what porn I looked at 13. Yeah, it's just like you're responsible for everything. Modification of these terms of service. Twitch may amend any of these ToS by posting the amended terms and updating the last modified date above. Your continued use of the Twitch services after the effective date constitutes your acceptance of the terms. Yeah, so this is pretty standard shit, I feel. Like, these are the services, we can change them whenever. If you continue using our services after we change them, you said yes. Yeah. Twitch will provide reasonable prior notice of amendments. Okay. Alright, so Twitch is, at least for us in the European Union, Twitch has to warn us before they change their ToS. That's kind of nice. I love that, like, European Union, European Economic Area, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, we get a notification. The Americans don't get a notification. It's just like, nah, you should just know, bitch. Yeah. Twitch is just like, we know, you don't need that warning. You're gonna suck it anyway. Here, everybody knows. Yeah. We're giving you limited permission to access and use Twitch for either personal reasons or internal business reasons. This permission is called a license, and we explain limitations on your license. The way you may not use Twitch below. Alright, here we go. Here comes the juicy parts. Owner operated by Twitch, blah 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 blah. User content, blah blah blah. Twitch's trademarks, logos, etc. 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 Selection and arrangement thereof. Oh, fuck me, I hate legalese. Relevant intellectual property and proprietary rights and laws. No, because I'm not going to read it word for word. I'm going to summarize it for you as I... basically everything that is Twitch owned. Like, any of their logos, their music. Like, the music I'm listening to now in my stream, that's their royalty-free music, but it still belongs to Twitch. So I can't go up on my stream and say, like, hey, I made this music. Basically, it's just standard fucking IP stuff. Fight! Yeah. By using Twitch, we granted this license and we can't give it to other people, just like it said above. Twitch reserves all rights not explicitly granted. License subject to terms of service doesn't permit you to engage any of the following. You cannot resale or commercial use of Twitch services or the materials. So we can't make money off of Twitch without Twitch's approval. Distribution, public forms of public display of any material. So we can't use Twitch's material without their approval. Modifying or otherwise making any derivative use of Twitch services. Yeah, so we can't copy the code base of Twitch and being like, hey, join our new website to watch. Use any data mining. Grabbing popcorn, shit best, let's get a liter of wine. You can't use any data mining, robots, or similar data gathering or extraction methods. So that D here, I'm wondering, enemy. What about your oh, for fuck's sake, what about your bot there? Section D. Use of any data mining. I gotta do push-ups. Look at my stream, bitch. Ow, 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 ow. 10! 11! You got 11 this time, you American asshole. Wow, so nasty. So unnice. I'm not gonna do an accent. Fuck, okay, sure. Italian. Yep. There will be an Italian accent for under 10 minutes. Bella, ciao. If you look at the paragraph 7 here, license. Il licenzo. See. So you go into number 7, licenzo, and then you scroll down and you see this is like A, vaffanculo, B, vaffanculo, C, and we got D. How fucking hard is it to understand? D, use of any data mining robots or similar data gathering or extraction methods prohibited. I want to know, you're a bot. It fucking break this rule, yes? No, that's calling you a bot. Alright, strike one. But what is data gathering? Because you say it collocate all the messages from a specific people. I think Bestie has died. Alright, then... So we are saying this is not a break of rules, because if it is, everyone a break of the rule. Break the rule! Yes. I mean, it's going to fuck you in the ass if it gets back to you, I think. So maybe check it. No, don't ChatGPT. ChatGPT don't know shit. ChatGPT is a language learning module. It is not. Alla Falentula del West. Mr. Enemy, what are you doing even? But he is using... So you have to stop blackmailing people. Okay. So that is unacceptable, yes? Yeah. Alright. See. So this is good. This is good. Okay. No, it is important to double check. Any use of the Twitch services to double check. Downloading any portion of Twitch services, materials, and information contained in them, except as expressly permitted on the Twitch services. Verboten. Any use of the Twitch services or the materials except for their intended purposes. Any use of the Twitch services or the materials except specifically authorized in these terms of service without the prior written permission of Twitch is strictly prohibited and may violate intellectual property rights or other laws. Suck it, nobles! Come on, little nobles! Vad fan cool! Oh, we suck, huh? No, you suck! You can't even hold your breath for 30 seconds! A little beach boy. Yes, because he could not. Where's... Wait, I not entirely understand this. User content. We refer to everything you create on Twitch or provide as user content. Twitch allows you to distribute streaming live and pre-recorded audiovisual works. I understand this. To use services such as chat, bulletin boards, forum postings, wiki contributions, and voice interactive services. We understand this, yes? And to participate in other activities in which you may create, post, etc., etc., etc. Alright, so it gives us a license to use this, you create stuff and it's like, oh yes, you created this, good. Yes? Yes, good. Everyone understand. Bene. When you provide user content on Twitch, you grant us the rights and the permission described in this section to make user content blah blah blah. How about you suck my dick? How about my asshole gets cleaned by your tongue, huh? My god. A Pixie is looking at Bestie's jugs. Oh my gosh. This is a 18 plus stream for everyone, yes? No? Not me. That is nuts. I would never moderate her channel ever again. Oh wait, me? Maybe we will see. If features that give other Twitch users the ability to use share you blah blah, then you also grant other Twitch users the rights and permissions described in this section. Share your user content. I will not wear pasties. I want to be somewhat respectable at some time in the future. Go work, Jesse. Bro, you're only getting older. Go work. As I understand from this section here. Good night, Valora. Cheerleader tassels, bullseyes. Yes. When you share the chat. How long is the timer still left? Try in your channel. Try in your channel. Tell me how long the timer is. Timer check. I don't understand the second parameter. No. Look, he did in his chat, and now it show in my chat, because it is a universal command. Let's see. Because the Italians are mad. Always they're mad. I mean, have you been to their country? Of course they will be mad. They used to be the Roman Empire, now they are just the fat fucks everywhere. Oh, thank you, Miss Farah, for the follow. No, it says she followed me. Silly a goose. Oh my gosh. Miss Farah redeemed the silly goose. I think I gotta do it in Get in my Twitch Ussy! What? Yeah, cause it said I was allowed, motherfucker. And for the silly goose, I said get in my Twitch Ussy. I mean, I just farted, just so everyone knows. Let's see. Maximum duration after the law. Issue worldwide erectable. Duck wag. Yeah, shake that booty, ducky. Shake that, shake that. Story use Enemy is the puppet master. What? Very good, very good, very good, very good. He is also known as Hacker Man. Are you also a coder, Nobles? Oh no. Nobles hacked the Federal Reserve. Twitch servers may allow users to use sharing functionality in turn. As far as I understand from these things. Yeah? On how to... on how to... Oh, seriously? Wait, cook or code? Code. Wait, which language? What languages? What languages were you gonna... Oh my gosh. That's sexy. You should continue. You should work on it during your stream while you raid. Get a double or multitask. Yeah. That's all enemy stream is gonna be. Is gonna be a look behind the scenes. Yo. No. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Fuck lunges. And no, I'm not gonna do burpees. Squats? Squats? All right, I'm reading through the fucking ToS while y'all are messing about. So basically, section A here in the user content agreement. This is a what? I am not waiting for no fucking one. Basically, the section A just says that like anything we create on Twitch, Twitch owns until we delete our account. Like if you delete the account, Twitch loses rights to it for the period that it takes for them to actually delete all the backups and everything. But they are not responsible for any third-party services we might have used. So, for example, if you have my voice on Blurps or Noble's voice on Blurps, then Blurps owns that shit, not Twitch. So they can't be. They can't be held responsible. Just left disc without a word. Well. So yeah, basically we are owned by Twitch as long as we use Twitch. They own our asses. You're solely responsible for your user content and the consequences of posting or publishing it. You represent and warrant that you are the creator, own control rights, and all the user content, blah, blah, blah. Your user content does not and will not infringe, violate, or misappropriate any third-party right, including any copyright, trademark, patent, trade secret, moral right, privacy right. Wait, moral right? That is sorry, but that is so fuck. No. But the thing is also, like, I used to teach religions. I used to teach, like, morals and ethics. And morals and ethics are super fucking subjective and depends very much on the country. So I'm not allowed to violate any moral rights. I'm pretty sure by kissing my wife on camera, I'm violating several moral rights. This is weird. This is not okay. No, come on! That's not... Oh my gosh. Trade secret as well, privacy right, right of publicity, or any other intellectual property or proprietary right. You cannot defame any other person. That's why we always say allegedly whenever we talk shit about anyone. Your user content doesn't contain any viruses, adware, spyware, worms, or other harmful or malicious code. Enemy? Enemy? Oh, come on. Fuck's sake. Instead of kissing the wife, he will kiss the floor. God damn it, Ducky. Why are you? Why are people like this? I'm pretty sure this is like some form of bestiality. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 10 push-ups. Yeah, I haven't. That was 10. Oh, fuck. That hurts.
Oh, did I miss them?
Huh?
Did I miss them?
You missed them. You missed them. No, that's... Windows is not getting any more of my money. I bought Windows in 1994. I'm not going to buy it again. Alright? No. No. No, what the fuck is this? This is abuse of power. Like, honestly, that's such bullshit, because, like, creating a poll, everyone's gonna vote that I should add push-ups. No one is on my side here. Does it? Someone voted no. I did. Yeah, Twitch is basically saying here that, like, if you violate any of this, they can just remove it. Yeah. But doesn't contain any... none of us has viruses or adware. Ass. I mean, no, it's not. It's not being sent to other people. That's the thing. That's right. That's right. Only one people's. Content is uploaded at your own risk. Yeah. The security measures protect user content used by Twitch. As in. No, it's fine. We're just not gonna. We're not gonna post this VOD. But the thing is, like, I haven't broken any of these terms of service rules so far. Like, using copyrighted material, like, I had music on live, but it's not in the VOD. So it's not technically part of my material. It's just something, like, I had on while I created the material. Yeah, right? And I know the bows and stuff, people are doing that. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah. So we should be fine there. Twitch uses reasonable security. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, content is uploaded at your own risk. We get that. She's at smoking, probably. Users may promote, administer, or conduct a promotion. You may carry out promotions. No! No! No, he didn't. Did you want to waterboard me? No, come on. Operation for drafting and closing any rules, selecting winners, obtaining all necessary third-party permissions. Shut up. So mean. Doesn't endorse or support any such promotions, blah, blah, blah. I know you love me. Yeah, so we can use our Twitch to promote and do stuff like contests and shit, but we also gotta like follow through with it, and we can't ever say that Twitch is a sponsor or a co-sponsor of the promotion unless they specifically are. Oh, you will display or read out the following disclaimer when prompting, administering, or conducting a promotion. This is a promotion by me. Twitch does not sponsor or endorse this promotion and is not responsible for it. So yeah, we actually gotta say every time we do any like giveaway or anything that this is a promotion by us, not by Twitch. Hey, Blue Apple. Goodbye, Blue Apple. No, I haven't. Neither has Nobles. I know. Said that this is a promotion by Nobles. Twitch does not sponsor or endorse this promotion, is not responsible for it. Yeah, apparently. They say that you will display or read out the following disclaimer when promoting, administering. Dude. Alright, fine. Oh my gosh, it's raining as fuck outside. Jesus Christ. Wait, I gotta watch this. It's fucking pouring, yo. It's like buckets. Alright, I gotta go grab some more coffee. You entertain each other in the meantime. Oh my gosh. I just want to remind everyone that I still had my headphones on so I could hear you talk shit about me. Hello.
There you. Come inside.
Wait, what? Were those kisses from your dad?
Ew.
You kissed me and then you said, Dad sends his regards.
Well.
I did, didn't I? Moral, oh, come on. They aren't laughing they're laughing with you. No, come on. I cannot. I cannot, okay? Yeah, boo-hoo! Yeah! You know what? I'm just gonna add this here. Wait, no. No, more. I think like during the 20... Yeah. Three giveaways during the birthday stream. The 24-hour stream was like 6 giveaways, I think? Oh, come on! Sleep tight, Artie, yeah. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. And I think that he added 50 as well. I hate my life right now. Alright, so just 7 then. But I said that they were those were sponsorships by the specific company. Fair. Alright, so 100 push-ups for all of those fuck-ups then. 100 push-ups in total for all the fuck-ups. Yeah. 1784, oh my gosh. The year John Adams was elected president of the United States. No, it's not. I don't know. I don't know if it was. Yeah, we did. Or enemy did. So you may share political opinions, participate in political activity, provide links to a political committee's official website, and include the contribution page of a political committee. You agree, however, that these activities are entirely your own. Yeah, so we can do politics if we want to, but we also understand that this is our activities, not Twitch's. And Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, and you agree not to solicit the use of or use any Twitch monetization tools for the purpose of making or delivering a contribution to a candidate's committee, political action committee. So you can't explicitly say, like, any bits you donate here will go to Bernie Sanders' campaign, for example. So that, yeah, that I don't think that's a problem for any of us. I don't think we're gonna give money to politicians. Sorry? Yeah, it's just politics. And I think, like, technically, if any of us would decide to go into politics and we stream, then it is not necessarily us contributing to a political thing, but rather it's us making money for our political campaign ourselves. So that should be fine. Because I'm pretty sure, like, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez has done some Twitch streams and stuff where people have given her money. And I'm pretty sure that wasn't illegal. At least I think so. Branded content. Twitch recognizes that some users collaborate with brands and may publish branded content, which is any user content featuring, using, discussing, or promoting products, services, or specific content in exchange for something of value, such as being paid for. Yeah. So branded content, sponsorships is fine, as long as they comply with the terms of service and are applicable to law, and applicable law. Blah blah blah. Yup. Yeah, this is Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. I don't even need to say it myself. I just need you all in the chat in the meantime. Dude, yeah, and just that, like, when you use branded content, you agree that you're gonna click in the branded content box when you go live, which you always do when you have a sponsored stream or anything. Wait, do I need to do that even if I'm not specifically streaming? Oh, but I do have branded content tag on, so. Right? Yeah. So whenever you're sponsored, even if you're not actively playing the sponsored game, price written disclosure to viewers. Yeah. Yeah, no. So you got to do this, just because like there is a branded content here. Like the Stream Elements will post a link to the sponsor every now and again. So that happens. Oh, come on! I'm so sweaty already. I'm so sweaty. Oh my gosh, fucking. Wait, let me just. I will now do push ups. Kiss the floor. 2, 3, 4.
I feel you need to clench the cheeks more. Yes! That looks great. Great form.
10. Fuck everything.
And his wife. You dork. Goodbye.
Let them. Wow. I want to hear that version of the cranberry. No, it's not the cranberries. Which one is it? Let the bodies hit the floor, but instead let the man boobs touch the floor. Let the man boobs touch the floor. Let the man boobs touch the floor. Roar. Fair. Oh, it's so fucking warm today as well. Cry me a river. Right. But yeah, so branded content, we kind of understand. You promise not to violate any laws or anyone else's rights. I don't. But y'all do. You violate my rights all the time. You promise to comply with this contract. That's true. You agree that your use of others' content and information on our services is at your own risk. We disclaim legal liability. Someone makes his house do this in Russia. We have the right to remove, hide, or moderate any user content on our service. You agree not to violate any law, contract, blah 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 blah. Oh, for fuck's sake. You agree that you will comply with these terms of services and Twitch's community guidelines and will not create, upload, transmit, distribute, or store any content that is inaccurate, unlawful, infringing, defamatory, obscene, pornographic, invasive of privacy or publicity rights, harassing, threatening, abusive, inflammatory, or otherwise objectionable. Yes, it's good. This is what you wanted, yes? So we are not allowed to impersonate any person or entity, falsely claim any affiliation with any person or entity. We cannot access the Twitch services accounts of others without permission, forge digital signatures, we can't misrepresent source. So yeah, you know, it's very clear-cut things here, just don't be illegal, bitch. We can't send junk mail or spam to users. We don't. At least I don't. Do you? Do you see the junk mail? Spam? Unsolicited advertising. No, they can sign up for those. This is not junk or spam. They say, hey, do you want this? Informational announcements, charity requests, petitions. Yes, we can't harvest or collect email addresses or other contact information. We don't do this, I hope. Which is... Yeah, you should have during. Might be something new they added. Because I cannot see it in my little OBS. Kurwa. You cannot defame, harass, abuse, threaten, or defraud users of the Twitch services or attempt to collect personal information, etc., etc. Yes, you're not allowed to fuck up. You're not allowed to reverse engineer, decompile, disassemble, or otherwise attempt to discover the source code of the Twitch services or any part thereof. Enemy? Enemy, you listen to me now. You listen. You understand this. You are not allowed. No source code for you. No source code for you. This is true. This is true, nobles. Also, no source code for you, please. Yeah, we're not allowed to copy Twitch services either. We're not allowed to. You motherfucker! You cannot relay email from third parties' mail servers without the permission of that third party. You cannot access any website, server, software, application, hardware, computer resource owned, used, and/or licensed by Twitch, including but not limited to the Twitch services by means of any robot, spider, scraper, crawler, or other web means of purpose, bypass any measures Twitch may use to prevent restrict access. Yes, so I think enemy is very much correct here. That the actual terms of service is fine. I do not break much of this or any of it actually. Attempt to indicate in any manner. It's just a promotion thing that I fuck up on. I broke up. What? Respect on this page. The table of contents, motherfucker. You didn't go to high school? You never know what table of contents is? Or as we say in Swedish, innehållsförteckning. Prohibited conduct. I mean, we should look here, I feel. Attempt to indicate in any manner where you have a relationship with us? No, we have not. Attempt to circumvent any content filtering techniques we employ, or attempt to access any service area services you not authorized access. I don't know how I do this. Use or attempt to use another user's account? No. Interfere with or disrupt the Twitch services? No. This is all good. Use Twitch services for any illegal purposes? No, we are not violating any laws. Twitch takes no responsibility and assumes no liability for any user content or for any loss or damage or resulting therefrom. Yes, so this is just like, oh, Twitch is not liable, it's not our fault, we only provide platform, not actual fucking accountability. Alright. Not simulcasting? Advertisement. No, I've barely simulcast. Twitch has the exclusive right to monetize the Twitch services. Yeah, a couple times, but I mean... yeah, no. You don't... if you're simulcasting, you don't tell on Twitch, hey, go watch me on Kick instead. That seems to be like the only thing. You do not merge chat or other features. Yeah. You're not allowed to merge chat, so it's... No, apparently. I mean, this does not happen anyway. It is not possible with the... No. The OBS, your OBS, could merge the chat, but the chat in Twitch must not be merged. And that is not possible anyway. So, I mean, who gives a fuck? They have exclusive right to monetization, including without limitation. They should right to sell, serve, and display advertisements on Twitch service. Yeah, they have ads. They are allowed to do ads. We'll recommend content that might be of interest to you. Okay, it's very nice of you. Twitch respects the intellectual property of others and follows the requirements set forth in the DMCA and other applicable laws. Yeah, but this is, they give you warning if you have DMCA stuff in your VOD. They say like, Moje boy, you are not allowed. Yeah, exactly. I can do many accents. Twitch, the Twitch logos. Is sorry, Polish is same as Russian. You understand these accents? They are made or based on extremely racist stereotypes. Yes. Oh, the New Yorkian I could do actually. I could do New York. Dzień dobry! I have done Scottish as well. Other trademarks reference to Ethiopian. I don't know. I don't know Ethiopian. I would have to listen to Ethiopian English and then I could maybe, you know, impersonate. Yes, obviously it will be very nasty to everyone involved. No one will be happy about this. What do people have against Ethiopians? Huh? This is Ethiopians. This is where Haile Selassie, the Great One, is from. 100% you did. 100%. Racism. All other trademarks referenced, blah. Oh, so we are not allowed to use... We are not allowed to use Twitch's logos or anything unless explicitly saying Twitch says okay. This is weird. This is weird because like I have, and I've seen many have, like Twitch logo, Twitch name, and then on like YouTube, on social medias, finally. Alright. I can speak in a normal accent again. So you can have them like... So that's the thing, like, I think you're not allowed to, like, say that you represent Twitch, but that you can be found on Twitch is a different thing. You're not, like, allowed to, hey, Panda, you're not allowed to try to make money off of making people think that you are from Twitch. I think. Yeah, good morning, Panda. God damn it, I'm sweaty. No, it came up like a minute ago. And I've not been speaking normally for a while. Trust me, I know. Third-party content. And It's a new cup of coffee. I went away and got a new cup of coffee, man. You were talking shit about me. Dude, you're too blazed. This is faded into infinity right there. Wait, he has a new cup of coffee? Sick. Sick. Oh my gosh. I appreciate you, Nobles. I appreciate you. You love each other. Fuck you, bestie. 2 hours later. Yep. Yup. Wait, I gotta keep an eye out on my phone as well. Like, Enemy wrote to me yesterday, asked if we could talk today or during the week, and I thought he meant that we were just gonna have a meeting, and then he was like, no, we're gonna stream the ToS. So this is, I was not entirely prepared for this. Third-party content, blah, blah, blah. Twitch does not control... No, she's outside, but my oldest sister could be texting me, because she and her family are coming over today, and they're staying for a couple days. So I won't be streaming. Sippy sip, sip, sip. You don't... I enjoy coffee, I don't need to gulp it down. Anyway, this third-party content thing just tells us that Twitch isn't responsible for any third-party fuck-ups or anything. It feels like the general idea here is basically that, yeah, Twitch has all the rights that they would like, but none of the responsibilities that they would not like to have. Basically. By submitting ideas, suggestions, documents, and/or proposals to Twitch or its employees, you acknowledge and agree that Twitch shall be entitled to use or disclose such submissions for any purpose. Yeah. Like, if you tell them anything, they're like, yeah, without providing compensation or credit to you. So, anything that we actively use on Twitch or send to their employees, they can use. You and Twitch can each end this contract. Awesome. Twitch has the right to stop providing the Twitch services or any features to you or to all users. Twitch has the right to end or suspend your ability to use the services, including access to any purchased products or services. Dope. Yeah, so we can both end the contract, but Twitch has obviously more rights because they own the platform and shit. I think we're just gonna read the purple overlines or overheads here. Indemnification. You agree to compensate Twitch and other named parties and defend us against all claims, losses, and damages related to your use of Twitch, your user content, and any contractual promises that you break. Yeah, so basically we're all economically liable if Twitch gets in trouble because of us. No warranties. This is our disclaimer of legal liability. Yeah, we also provide notice that the user meet the definition of a consumer. Blah. Oh wait, we in the European Union have some warranty rights. Wait, I gotta check this out. There are warranty rights under applicable law in case of any non-conformity. Such rights shall remain unaffected. In such case, Twitch offers no further implied or statutory warranties. Okay, so it's like if local law has anything to say about stuff. Limitation, liability, and damages. This section details limits on legal liability we may have to. Yeah, no, shit. Full extent applicable by law. Damages incurred by you by reason or of any products or services sold. Yeah, so we're liable for everything and anything. Oh, for fuck's sake, Panda. Oh my gosh, I hate everything. Oh my gosh. You only get 6 this time. Fuck me. Ouch. Everything is hurting now. You only get 6 push-ups this time. I'm terribly sorry. Hey, Hoops. Ouch. I don't give a fuck. You promised to notify us 60 days before filing a lawsuit against us so that we will have 60 days to try to informally resolve the dispute. You do that, Hubes. Thanks for being here. Hey, Nightmare. We're doing a Terms of Service stream. So yeah, we're gonna inform Twitch if we're gonna file a lawsuit. Is anyone here planning on suing Twitch for anything in the next following 2 months? You can't sue me, actually, because in Sweden you can't sue private people. So, protected by Swedish law. I'm not an American citizen. I don't fall under there. Yeah, but I'm not. I actually wonder how it would work with international law. Yeah, you do. If we end up in a legal dispute, honk 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 honk, agree to resolve it in the name California courts. So if we end up in a legal dispute with Twitch, it's going to be settled in California courts using California law and United States law. But if we were in European Union, we can do it in just civil courts where we reside. Cool. Dope. This actually makes me feel more comfortable because it seems like, thanks to the European Union, like as a Twitch streamer in Europe, you have more protection than an American streamer. It seems like, at least. Poor kitty. You and Twitch both agreed to bring any legal claims against one another within 1 year. Right. Miscellaneous. Section contains some additional important details about our contract. Waiver. Severability. Assignment. Alright, yeah, and then this contact info. Where did you find the community guidelines, Mr. Inami? There we go. Community guidelines. No, I found it. You can technically file against your Twitch as it is in a sense a group and not an individual as you have mods and so on. My Twitch is actually registered as, like, in Sweden at least. If you're a company, you got to register a company name and stuff. But under a certain amount of money, you don't have to register a company or anything. You just count as a private person. Still, so even my Twitch is considered just me as a private person. Yeah. You got caught. Yeah. But that's the thing, like, Hoops, that in Sweden, you don't really sue private people. It's not possible. You can... It's not suing for damages, but, like, you can argue in the courts that, like, hey, this person cost me this much, and then you get money from a victims fund, not from the person themselves, and the person themselves can get, like, a fine to have to pay into the victims fund. So there's like a middleman in there. I gotta move the fucking fan closer as well. It's so hot. Nice. No, poor little kitty cat. Alright. So, enemy, you wanted me to look through the community guidelines. It's the heart of Twitch. It's on cooldown still. Fuck off. Safety. Yeah, they try to balance user expression with community safety and so on. It's all pretty common sense. When we talk about harm, we mean actions that lead to physical, emotional, social, or financial damage or loss to our users or to society. So yeah, like saying that, hey, you should kill all your politicians, that's not acceptable. Saying that you should bully your mom is not acceptable. I'm using them as examples. I'm not saying you should. That is technically against the community guidelines, yes, because you are telling people to use physical violence against me. How long is the stream gonna be? I don't know. We'll see. Not past 12 o'clock though. Long message made a lot more sense. No. 12 o'clock. My sister and her family are coming at 5 o'clock, but at 12 o'clock I gotta start preparing for them to come here. Did I say 5 o'clock yesterday? No. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, because like anywhere between those hours, I could fit in like half an hour to talk to you. But yeah, these guidelines set the guide rails. Don the Rizzler shirt. Oh, for fuck's sake. False. Woo! I'm naked. I'm naked. Woo! So naked.
Is that against the terms of service?
Only if I show it on camera. You want the kiss? Nice. I'll keep it open here, by the way, just so we can get some air in and stuff. Oh my gosh! All right, I have the Rizzler shirt on. Keeping the doors open so I can get some air in here. But yeah, actions that lead to. She is? What's happening? She is strobing, yeah. Go enjoy Italy. You missed my Italian accent before as well. It was horrendous. But yeah, so I think we all. I think we all got to get better at like actions that lead to physical, emotional, social, or financial damage. I mean, you bully me all the time on stream, bestie. Isn't that considered emotional damage? Hold on. It's fair. It's true. You know what? I'm still gonna copy this, and I'm just pasting shit in the VIP channel here for me later. I think is that yeah, it's fair. I've cultivated. I think that culture just appeared, as it usually does around me. I did not. This is victim blaming, I feel. This is... These guidelines set the guide rails for what behavior is and is not allowed on our service and apply to all content on our service, including video, chat, whispers, and accounts. Just woke up, leave me alone. Also, we kinda in a teeny tiny village in the mountains, so days are kinda like enjoy on laptop, play physical games, family, and then swim in the small pool. Fucking, I wanna be where Panda is right now. Thanks for the bits, Panda! I'm not happy about the blurb, though. No. He blurped the thing he usually blurps, which is the song. There's no cock like horse cock, sends your asshole into shock. It is... The next one's yours? Oh wait, oh, they're both in, oh fuck's sake. I hate everything. Bestie just redeemed quit crying. Oh my gosh, these guidelines that guide us at. Community guidelines be a living document. We worked with streamers, mods, and external safety and policy experts to review and update them regularly. In addition to these guidelines, streamers and moderators can also use customizable Twitch safety tools. Fucking embarrassing! For some of our community guidelines below, you'll see an enforcement notes and clarification section. Additional examples of what is and isn't allowed on Twitch, focus on clarifying existing policies. Self-destructive behavior. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Harming yourself or discussing self-harm can be dangerous for not only... Yeah, I've definitely done that before as a joke and stuff. Should be able to discuss something that's related to self-harm or mental health and want Twitch to remain... Come on, giggle. Come on, little giggle, wrench. Yeah, come on. Come on. That's what she said. We understand that streamers and viewers should be able to discuss sensitive topics related to self-harm or mental health, and we want Twitch to remain a safe place to do so. Anyone should be able to talk about their struggles if they so choose. However, Twitch does not allow content that glorifies, promotes, or encourages self-harm. We also prohibit activity that may endanger your life. Sick, why? Encourage others to engage in physically harmful behavior. We do not make exceptions for self-destructive behavior formed as a stunt or gag made in jest or meant to entertain. And the behavior could reasonably be expected to cause physical injury. You may not show or promote... Oh, content warning. Content warning. No, we can't. What do we do? Glorification and or promotion, yeah. Use of hard drugs and substances not fit for human consumption. Example, Tide Pods and bleach. I feel like this is specifically directed to Americans. The Tide Pod specifically. The Tide Pod challenge was American, wasn't it? The Tide Pod challenge was an American thing. No. That's literally against the community guidelines, my dude. You're breaking... Like, as for disgusting. You fucking... you massive weapon, you. Misuse of legal substances, example, prescription drugs or whippets. You can't misuse legal substances. No. Oh, fuck. Whippets is like... du vet sprutgrädde, när grädden är slut så är det liksom så här någon... Ja, precis. It's like the nitrous oxide whippets that... Because I only knew what it was in Swedish. For fuck's sake, nobles. But yeah, whippets is basically like huffing gas. It's huffing gas. I feel so sick already. That was 7. That was 7. 7. It does get stuck in your head. Alright, but like misuse of legal substances has to involve like weed and stuff as well, where weed is legal. But what constitutes misuse? Yeah, like because it says here like consumption of alcohol or other substances that lead to being incapacitated. So like you can't smoke or drink yourself to a blackout. Like that, like you still gotta. Jesus, Reggie's just gonna. That would be so insane. Bestie just like becomes affiliate yesterday, becomes banned tomorrow. just speed run the whole Twitch experience. The only unenjoyable part was the 20-hour split over 2 days. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, Panda. That's how I spent all my summers as well. Like we drove from Sweden to Hungary because that's where my family's from, and my dad refused to stop anywhere. So we usually do like a 24-hour drive, one go. Dad fueled by Red Bull and homemade sandwiches and anger at the Germans who couldn't drive. What? No, fuck off! Fuck off! Jesus. Shut up! Dangerous or distracted driving, including using a phone while driving and driving under an influence. Yeah, alright, so we can't stream while driving. And obviously no drunk driving. You've broken that law? Wait, have you streamed while driving, or...? But these are community guidelines. These are not necessarily... Yeah, right? Enforcement notes and clarifications. Oh my gosh. Wait, selling activities which may cause harm for monetary gain is not allowed. So for example, taking shots of alcohol for subs or doing the cinnamon challenge for a set amount of bits is not allowed. So technically, during the 24-hour stream, I did that. If they gifted me 1,000 bits, I would eat a raw chili live on stream. So technically, cause harm... Did I do that? Yeah, I did that as well, yeah. So that's not allowed. I'm gonna add this. But yeah, okay, so selling stuff for... Oh wait, this is wrong. Drinking gold streams are allowed, provided the drinking that takes place is not excessive and would not reasonably be expected to cause harm. For an example is, I will open this bottle of Prosecco at 100 subscribers, or drinking stream when we hit 50 new subs tonight. Okay. Wait, who's... This Panda again? Fuck's sake. Oh, fuck. There's no cock like horse cock. Sends your asshole into shock. There you go. 1801. It feels like we're like moving through the industrial revolution up to the digital revolution in my push-up debt. Dangerous or distractive driving, such as operating your vehicle while interacting with your stream in a way that removes your eyes from the road or hands from controlling your vehicle, is never acceptable on Twitch. So you can stream while driving as long as you look, like, keep your eyes on the road and hands on the wheel. Setting up your streaming device while parked in a safe location prior to driving is allowed. Listening to text-to-speech chat messages and responding verbally out loud is allowed. But you're not allowed to read chat messages or physically touch the stream camera or device for prolonged periods of time or frequency while driving. There's some wiggle room here, for sure. Violence and threats. Zero tolerance violations, all accounts associated with blah. Attempts or threats to physically harm or kill others. We haven't done that. Attempts or threats to hack, dox, DDoS, or SWAT others. I don't think we've done that. I mean, enemy has doxed me live on stream, but he hasn't threatened me about it. Use it. Yeah. To be fair. Use of weapons to physically threaten to... You can't SWAT me, no. It says attempt or threat. So if you attempt to SWAT me... But wait. If you successfully SWAT me, is that still considered an attempt? Sick. Encouraging others to participate in acts that may harm others. But this is the thing as well, because like I've played games where, for example, in Payday 2, you shoot at cops, and I've yelled out like "Die, pigs" and shit like that. Does that encourage others to participate in acts that may harm others? It doesn't, right? That's fine, right? Is that a little cock dancing? They're dancing dicks. What the fuck? Oh my gosh, who is this? Blop Meghead? They have... This person has a lot of small dicks. That is just beautiful. I'm gonna follow this person. There we go. They are dicks, the mascot Harold. Sick. In situations where a user has lost control of their broadcast due to severe injury, medical emergency, police action, or being targeted with serious violence, we will temporarily remove the channel and associated content. That makes sense, though. What is... Yeah, this is the person, Blop. Yeah, Blop Meghead. Tell us about Blop. Such a... Blop me pat. Jeez. I can have been adopted by them as their brother. Nice! You stare at it long enough, you kind of start... It's not me. We don't have a washing machine here. Nice that you've been adopted, Panda. So it's definitely Nobles. Nobles has a washing machine. That feels like you are. You get a real good... Yeah, we're not allowed to do a terrorism or violent extremism game. That's... Darn! No graphic pictures or footage of terrorist or extremist violence either. Adult sexual violence, not acceptable. For example, you may not show, promote, or engage in non-consensual sex acts, coercing a guest into committing a sex act by threatening them, touching another person in a manner without... Consensual is fine, it seems. Consensual violence is... So, like, BDSM and stuff would be allowed. Yeah. So there's like you can spank people in their underwear as long as you're in a pool. Is that how I understand it? Like that is all allowed. Right? I feel Noble's like I gotta go over to California and we gotta really test these out to their full extent. You and me, we gotta see what we can do here. Uh, nice. Wait, youth safety. Right, right. Uh, wait. Yeah, we're not allowed to sexually exploit or groom kids. Obviously. Yeah. Hey, no pedophilia or stuff, gang. Please. No, that's youth safety. That's the next part here. Like sexual violence and then youth safety. Yeah, and anything that like affects youth in that sense, they report, which is good. Any humor regarding anything sexual in relation to. Right. Wait, updates here do not include. Wait, enforcement notes are additional examples of what is and isn't allowed on Twitch. Depicting fictional anime characters of a childlike appearance with any kind of sexual framing is not allowed. Yeah. This applies to VTubers and within games where avatars are uploaded, such as VR chat with a childlike avatar. Any humor regarding anything sexual in relation to minors will result in immediate action on your account. So no like jokes about pedophilia, nothing like that. Stating you are below the age of 13 anywhere on Twitch, you're not allowed to. Even if intended to be humorous, will result. Yeah, because I know that Nick Big has talked about this. Like, don't even ever say that you're under 13, even as a joke. Prohibited examples, typing in chat, haha, I'm 12 by the way, or I'm using my dad's account. Yeah, right? Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, and yeah. Wait, the death part? We haven't reached the death part yet, no. Off-service conduct. So they enforce off-service conduct as well. So you're not allowed to, like, engage in deadly violence or violent extremism off Twitch either. We're not allowed to recruit for terrorist activities on Discord or anything either. No threats of mass violence. We can't recruit people to a known hate group. So an unknown hate group, that would be okay, but a known hate group, verboten, as they say. I guess that's not even considered a hate group because I'm not like a minority ethnicity or anything. Fair. Fuck off. Yeah, so we're not allowed to be pedos off stream either, which I appreciate. Explicit and or credible threats against Twitch, including Twitch staff. Harmful misinformation actors. Doxing. Yeah. Yeah, so basically illegal shit. Don't do it off stream either, because it's still illegal. Yeah, right. Unauthorized sharing of private information. Yeah, that's also illegal. Hateful conduct. You may not promote, glorify, threaten, or advocate violence, physical harm, or death against individuals or groups on the basis of protected characteristic, including age. Yeah, so we can't say kill all this or promote or express a desire for a protected group to be infected and or die from a serious disease. You can't say kiss and then a slur. Jesus fucking Christ. You can't modify video game content to promote violence against a group based on a protected characteristic. Glorify specific hate crimes or mass... What the fuck? How do you even do all of this? Like, I'm not gonna do any of this, but I'm interested to see, like, how do you modify a video game to promote violence against a group based on their protected characteristics? Like, would that be, like, modifying Doom and changing all the demons to like, Hungarians? But, I mean, no, Hungarians aren't a protected people, necessarily. You can't use hateful slurs. Can't enter a chat spamming a slur. No shit. Can't include a slur in profile content. You can't call another player a slur while streaming. Yeah. You can't stream with a Confederate flag in the background. Given its historic association with slavery and white supremacist groups in the US, displaying this symbol in non-educational contexts runs counter to Twitch's commitment to being a service that is inclusive and welcoming to all users. You can't wear a t-shirt with the arrow cross, because they were a Nazi group in Hungary and several other places. And you can't post a swastika or SS bolts in chat. You can't create speech, imagery, or emote combinations that dehumanize or perpetuate negative stereotypes and or memes. Black, brown, yellow, red face. Content that perpetuates a recognized negative stereotype of a protected group as greedy or unintelligent, for example. Yeah, so you can't say... Yeah. I was... Jesus fuck. I was gonna give examples of, like, yeah, you can't say this, you can't say that. But no. You can't be racist, you can't be hateful. That's pretty self-explanatory. Can't compare a protected group to insects, etc. Yeah. You can't say that a certain group... Also, like, I'm like, these are Twitch guidelines, but I also know that, like, politicians in Sweden, the US, Canada have definitely broken a bunch of these. Like, Hungary we're not even going to talk about. That's that's a whole different thing. Intentionally referring to someone using a pronoun or form of address that does not correctly reflect the gender with which they identify, such as repeating incorrect pronouns after being asked to stop. Alright, so you can't misgender people purposefully. Yeah, that makes sense as well. Support for or promotion of outdated discriminatory genetic or anthropological theories, including eugenics, yeah. Claims of divine sanction for hostility toward a protected group. What the fuck? So nobles, you can't say that God has chosen you to attack my pinky toe. Expressions questioning a group's worth. Statements suggesting inferiority of a protected group. Questioning the moral integrity of a protected group. Call for subjugation, segregation, or exclusion. But it also says, like, protected group. It says protected group all along. So I know that, like, Jewish people are a protected group. Romani people are a protected group. But, like, white people are a protected group. Could we make racist jokes about white people? Could we say, like, very negative things about all white people? That's the thing, like, what is a protected group? Straight white males? Are straight white males a protected group? Are straight white women a protected group? Right? I gotta Google this shit. Don't look at my search history. What's an example of a protected group? Include age, ancestry, color, disability, ethnicity. Oh, yeah. Sorry, so that's... Fuck's sake. It's a protected group according to the UN charter. And that's like, yeah, age, disability, ethnicity, gender identity, etc., etc. So, technically, you're not allowed to be like, all white men are bastards. Because then you're saying something about all men. And that is a gender. You can't be, like... It's not called gender racist, but you know what I mean. You can't... you can't call for the subjugation, segregation, or exclusion based on protected characteristics, including age. We do, however, allow discussions on certain topics such as immigration policy, voting rights for non-citizens, and professional sports participation, as long as the content is not directly denigrating based on a protected characteristic. Support for denying right to political participation. Example, protected groups should not be allowed to vote. Support for limiting participation in the workplace. Example, we shouldn't hire a protected group. This is weird. Alright. Encourage or support the political or economic dominance of any race, ethnicity, or religious group, including support for white supremacists, nationalists, does not include self-supported. Support for self-determination movements. Okay, so like, you can't encourage or support white supremacy, but you can encourage or support, like, LGBTQ communities, for example. Support for the hegemony of any group based on protected characteristic. Calls to increase fertility rates or restrict immigration. The fuck? Expressions of contempt, hatred, or disgust based on a protected characteristic. Yeah. Yeah, so you can't say, like, this particular group just makes me want to vomit. Fuck me, I can't speak today. You can't mock event. I have. But I've done this as a teacher for many, many years. You can't mock the event or victims or deny the occurrence of well-documented hate crimes. Oh, so you can't do like an Alex Jones where you deny the Sandy Hook massacre, for example. All men should be using the following. What should we be using, Panda? Drawing a cartoon mock. Deny, yeah. It's the blurb again. It took him so long to realize. Yeah, thank you. It was 16 minutes ago? Yeah, I mean, ready, yeah. I really gotta run to the bathroom. Can we do a little be right back? My be right back won't even show up. Alright. See ya. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I really had to poop. Oh. Alright, so we're back in the ToS stream. Honk, 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 honk. Let's see. Yeah, so we can't mock people, victims of hate crimes and shit. Yeah, and can't say that mass murder of protected people was a hoax or anything. Conspiracy theories that individuals or groups are evil can't be done based on a protected characteristic. So politicians as a job is not a protected characteristic. So could you technically argue that politicians are all lizard people? Like, that's a conspiracy theory, and it's about a group, and that they are evil, but it's not based on protected characteristics. Right? Claims that a protected group created or is intentionally spreading a disease. Statement suggesting that a protected characteristic makes an individual more likely to be a criminal and or terrorist. Sick. Yeah, we can't promote sexual orientation conversion therapy either, which I don't think any of us would do. Support, promote, or be a member of a hate group. So we can't be members of a hate group either. It's very important to know this. You're not a member if you're the leader. You can't create accounts dedicated. Yeah. And I love also that, like, I know that Lumbles is not looking for loopholes because he's a hateful person. He just likes loopholes. Like, he just wants to be able to circumvent the rules, regardless. Oh my gosh. You may not engage in wishing harm or death on others. So you can't actually tell me... Jesus fucking Christ, Panda. Panda spending so many bits just to hear the horsecock song over and over and over again. I think he's been, like, top bit contributor a couple times because of this. Thank you. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, so you can't wish harm on me, actually. Or say that I should kill myself. And you can't wish me to contract a terminal or severe illness. Oh, come on. Yeah, do some things, Panda. But that's the thing, is like the push-up debt is not... Fuck off. This is not harm, necessarily. I'm not happy about it, but it's not harmful. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ouch. Yeah. Oh, you will. I did 7 because I'm a weak little man. Thank you, enemy. On-screen celebration with the Illuminati eye. That's a Twitch global emote as well. What the fuck? You're getting tired? Oh my gosh. You're not the one reading all this. No, right? When you were in school, you never had to pay attention for more than 40 minutes. Civility and respect. Yeah. Sexual harassment, civility and respect. Obviously, can't sexually harass people. I assume. Am I required to communicate to another user that I feel harassed by their behavior in order for my report to be considered valid? No. Alright, yeah. So you don't have to talk to your harasser. You can just report them. Illegal activity. Let's see. Breaking the law. Breaking the law. Bam, bam. Used to respect all applicable local, national, and international laws while using our services. We can't engage in human trafficking, guys. Or domestic servitude. We can't buy or sell illegal drugs, firearms, or counterfeit goods on Twitch. So, I gotta stop my AK-47s made out of cocaine business on Twitch. We cannot commit or... Sorry? Yeah, sure. We'll fix something. We cannot commit or aid in the destruction, defacement, or theft of public or another person's property without the permission on Twitch? Wait, what? So if we get permission from Twitch, we can aid in the destruction, defacement, or theft. No, on Twitch. Yeah. Oh, so for example, like, if I need help demolishing a shed, I can write on my Twitch, like, hey, come by my house and demolish my shed with me, and then we can do that. Yeah. Intellectual property rights. Yeah, we do not allow users to share content on their Twitch channel that they do not own or otherwise have rights to share. Performing other people's copyrighted content, including playing another artist's copyrighted songs. We're not allowed to do that, playing other people's songs. Other Twitch creators' content or content from other sites, we're not allowed to show. Pirated games or content from unauthorized private servers. We're not allowed to show movies, television shows, or sports matches. Music you do not own and do not have the rights to share, including music streamed in the background of a user's broadcast. Goods or services protected by trademark. Closed alphas, betas, or pre-release games. Okay, so if, like, I'm invited to an alpha or a beta, I'm not allowed to stream that shit. Interesting. That I didn't know, actually. I thought that I would be allowed to stream beta content. Fair. But yeah, they have a notice in the takedown process described in the DMCA guidelines. What did Nobles do? Yay! Extreme violence, gore, and other obscene content. We can't show content with death or extreme injury. We can't browse 4chan? It's specifically called out. It's specifically called out 4chan. Dude. Oh my gosh. Thanks for the bits, Nobles. What the fuck are you doing? Jesus Christ. We can't use randomized video chat services. Like, we can't use Omegle and stuff like that. Omegle? I don't know what it's called. I've never understood it, honestly. In Swedish, I would say Omegle. Omegle? Alright. Yeah, alright. Sexual content. To ensure content on Twitch is appropriate, users are prohibited from broadcasting, uploading, soliciting, promoting, offering, and linking to pornographic content. For example, you may not show, offer, or promote explicit, simulated, fictional, or implied sex or masturbation. This includes oral, anal, and vaginal sex, touching of genitals, and self or mutual masturbation, or prolonged audio that implies sex, masturbation, orgasm. Big sexy! Adult nudity without implied or real sex acts. The subjects are adult nudity. Display of sexual bodily fluids. I'm not allowed to show jizz on stream. Alright. We're not allowed to sell ourselves on stream. And film. Oh, yeah, that you can't. Not yet. Come on, guys. That's the one. It's probably gonna happen like today or tomorrow. I don't think we need to worry about it too much. And that's illegal. You cannot say that's against the Twitch guidelines. No. Right. You may not show, offer, or promote. You can't even show consensual sexual violence, such as flogging or whipping another person. You're not allowed. Interesting. You're not allowed to do, like, phone sex or erotica. Like, you're not allowed to describe kurva Fucking, there's a fly here. I'll go kiss the wife. No, I got it. I got it. No, but the thing is, like, kiss wife is not a sexual thing. It's not a graphic sexual act. And the tit fucker thing is literally a blur. Like, it's, I'm not saying, hey, you should fuck tits. Like, that's... And I'm not saying, like, hey, I sell tit fuckers. Do you want a tit fucker? Like, there are differences here. Would you like to buy a titty fuck? Ducky! Ducky, ducky, ducky. Oh. Nice. Nice. Oh my gosh. Alright, so now you just gotta stream for a couple hours, enemy, and you'll make affiliate. It's insane. Hello, Nile. But yeah, the Whalin. What up, Wellin? Whalin. Yes, we can't. No, making fun of groups of people of protected groups, that's against ToS. But not making fun of people specifically is not necessarily against ToS. Oh, I put that shit in my mind here. Just right here. Yup. We can't promote or advertise pornographic content either. So, like, if Nobles, if and when you create an OnlyFans, you're not allowed to promote it on your Twitch. I'm sad to say. Hydrate. All right, bestie. Users are prohibited from broadcasting or uploading content that contains depictions of real or fictional nudity, regardless of the medium used to create it. Incomplete censoring such as pixelization, mosaic, partially see-through clothing do not constitute an exemption to this policy. Exposed anuses or fully unclothed exposed buttocks. Female presenting individuals breasts with exposed... Wait, female presenting individuals with breasts with exposed nipples, unless actively breastfeeding a child. So this is No, but the thing is, like, for us men or male presenting people, we can show nipples. We can show nipples on stream. Bestie would not be allowed to show nipples on stream, but we would. Yeah. Art, history, educational content. But wait, this is really weird, because, like, I know that in Baldur's Gate 3, there's a ton of boob and dong and butt. But apparently that's against ToS as well? For me. Real or fictional nudity, regardless of the medium used to create it. So, like, if I'm a VTuber and my VTuber character has boobs out, that would be not okay. But in a game, it would be fine. Yeah, okay. We have an entire policy? Alright. I'm sorry, you can smell it all the way from here? Darn. Hey! Okay, wait. We don't permit streamers, their co-hosts, or their invited guests to be fully or partially nude, including exposing genitals or buttocks. Nor do we permit streamers to imply that they are fully or partially nude, including but not limited to covering breasts or genitals. You can't even cover breasts or genitals with objects or sensor bars. We do not permit the visible outline of genitals even when covered. So, like, if you have a huge dong, you can't show it in, like, underpants and stuff. Yeah. But specifically outline of genitals. So, genitals, no. But, alright. Broadcasting nude or partially nude minors is always prohibited. Yeah, fucking of course, dude. What the fuck? For those who present as women, we ask that you cover your nipples and areolas and do not expose underbust. Yeah, then you're not allowed to broadcast that. Yeah, that's a thing. Sorry, I said of course because in Sweden we have a law since a couple of years back that, like, you can't even share baby pictures of yourself. If you're nude in the baby picture, you can't share that to someone else because that would be considered distribution of child pornography. Because you are sharing nude pictures of children. So yeah, having your daughter in the background and she would pull off her shirt, that would constitute as a breach of trust or breach of ToS. So she's just not allowed to be in stream, man. Because children just do the weirdest things. I bet she is. I haven't seen Nugget yet. I don't think so. Wait, no, like... yeah, when she's drifting in her toy car, I've seen that one. I'll also just want to point out here that, like, you're not allowed to show nipples, areolas, or underbust. Like, underboob not allowed, but cleavage is unrestricted. Like, what the fuck? Seriously, like, underbust not allowed, cleavage unrestricted. What the fuck is that logic? Oh, you must cover the area extending from your hips to the bottom of your pelvis and buttocks. So, like, hot pants would be acceptable. That's where we have Discord? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's where you'll see my underboob. Are you showing it on your stream? What the fuck are you doing, Bestie, with your camera? Oh my gosh. I have a hype chest in Nobles as well? Holy shit. Alright, wait. Haha. Oh my god, such a cutie pie. I mean, she's right. She's not wrong. It's a chicken nugget. Sick. That is very understandable. Very understandable. Oh my gosh. Am I the only one only streaming myself? Well. Yeah. What's in the butt? What in the butt? There we go. Oh my gosh. Oh, he is, right? Keep bouncing around with you guys. That's what we love, Ducky. That's what we love. So, wait, we gotta cover certain areas of our... The areas of the body that we need to cover has to be fully opaque as well. So, like, sheer or partially see-through clothing is not acceptable, apparently. IRL streaming. Streamers, their hosts, and invited guests engaging in general IRL streaming outside the home must follow standard body coverage expectations. Those passing through the background of your stream are not held to the standard dress code required, and the content does not have to be placed in the pools, hot tubs, and beaches category. Wait, so he can walk around? No. No, it said streaming outside the home. So if you're like outside, if you're outside, your husband could technically walk past, dong out, and everything, and that would not violate any terms. Booty out then, whatever. If accidental nudity appears on your stream, we expect you to take immediate action, remove the content, and take precautionary steps so it won't happen again. You should not focus your stream on anyone violating our clothing or sexual content standards. You will be held accountable for doing so to the same extent as if you were violating the standards yourself. All right. Swim and beaches, concerts, and festivals. Swimwear, short shorts, and bodysuits are permitted as long as they completely cover the genitals, and those who present as women must also cover their nipples and areolas. Full coverage of buttocks is not required, but camera focus around them is still subject to our sexual content policy. Coverage must be fully opaque, even when wet. Sheer or partially see-through swimwear or other clothing does not constitute coverage. Yeah. Content subject to this contextual exception must be placed within the pools, hot tubs, and beaches category. Content that violates standard attire guidelines is not subject to blah. Wearing a bikini outside of pool or beach setting is still violent, even if placed into the hot. So you gotta physically be in a pool, hot tub, or beach to be able to wear a bikini on stream. This is so stupid. Yeah. Yeah. No, I've seen that. It's just so stupid. I usually watch you late at night. Hey, X-Gamer, what up? Nobles is here, Bestie is here, Enemy is here. We're doing a massive stream. Wait, for streams dedicated to body art, full chest coverage is not required. But those who present as women must completely cover their nipples and areola with a layer of non-transparent clothing or a paint and latex combination. Artist grade tape pasties are allowed. Tape, latex, or similar alternatives are acceptable. Yeah. Buttocks and genitals must also be fully covered. And you need to add sexual themes content classification label when painting on chest and buttocks. That makes sense, though. Context transitions are given some leeway for making transitions between contexts with different limits of acceptable attire. Yeah, I know, but I have been working on it today as well. But I've gotten some push-ups added for like breach of ToS and stuff. I don't even know if it's considered breach of ToS, really. I've been a good boy. Oh, come on. That's not even... I refuse. I'm never gonna activate that Windows license. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I hate doing push-ups. That was 8 push-ups though. Sorry. Enemy. Do your moderator things. No, I can do my... Oh my gosh. No, you're an affiliate now. No, I'll do it. I'll do it myself. Oh my gosh. There we go. 1786. Jesus. Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. No, no. Stay. Stay. Yeah, right. Attire, tags, privileged games. Alright. Yeah. But yeah, there's like some prohibition against gambling content and shit, but we don't do gambling content really, except for the stream elements. Bananas on Noble stream. That's the only gambling, really. Spam, scams, and other malicious conduct not allowed. Harmful misinformation, actors, content labeling. Yeah. Alright, so that's kind of it. That is the ToS stream. Alright. So, are you happy now that we did the ToS stream? Is this it? I think I've been educated. No, I mean, does that apply for all of you as well? Not only me? Yes? Only me. Only me, gotcha. Man, are you telling me that I was way too late in here because I was sleeping? Yeah. It's my fault, though, because, like, an enemy told me that we should do this ToS stream, and I was like, yeah, at 8 o'clock. That's when I have time. So it's all my fault. It is all my fault. Yeah. It is all my fault. Very true. I think this is everything, yeah. Alright. Hey, thanks for joining, everyone! Yeah, don't forget to follow Noble's Enemy and Lialvi. Follow them, give them your attention and love. Woo! That was super fun, yeah. Yay. Yep. You're gonna continue streaming? Nice. Nice. Wait, can I... Roar. Gotcha. Warhammer? You mean Warframe? Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I'll raid Bestie as well. Fuck it. Alright. We're all raiding Lialvi. He's gonna get so raided. Oh my gosh. Alright. Alright. I mean, all the viewers are already in her channel. Alright. Yeah, love you all. Bye, gang. Bye.